Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on the fireside chat on how the year of 2020 has introduced unprecedented demand for e-commerce and how retail innovators are deploying strategies and technology to thrive in this new reality going into 2021. I'm Daniela Perlmutter, Vice President of Marketing at Bringg, and I'm joined here by Omer Waysman, the Global E-commerce BizDev Director at Danone. And Danone is really a 100-year-old company and one of the largest retail innovators in the food and health product sector. And I personally am an avid consumer of Danone products, so thank you, Omer.
Already a good thing to start a good discussion, Daniela. Good to know that you're a Danone consumer.
Definitely, myself and my children too. And your company is actually going through a digital transformation for the past year or so. And this is why you're joining us here today, because we're really going to discuss some of the key opportunities we're really seeing in the industry and how the changing consumer behavior is opening new opportunities to drive growth with unique customer experiences. So we will see, what it really means in the after sales and post-purchase part of the customer journey and the role the technology plays. Just a few words about Bringg before we start the conversation. Really, Bringg is a global market leader. We're serving some of the largest retail and logistics players in the world. We enable really our customers to scale up their business rapidly and optimize their operations with an innovative delivery and fulfillment cloud platform. So essentially, our solutions connect, they automate, and they orchestrate the supply chain technology, the people, the consumers as well, the drivers, the users, and the different providers. And Omer, in the past year, and especially since COVID-19 broke out, we've seen a huge growth on our platform with 8 and 10 times fold number of transactions being processed on our platform, fulfilling really those online transactions. And this is, a reflection of this huge growth that we're seeing in the e-commerce industry. And we're really seeing this, spike in the e-commerce revenues year over year, reaching, the numbers that were predicted for 2027. They're reaching already, they reached in 2020, a revenue growth of 55%. Customers making many more orders online, by almost 70% more orders online. The basket sizes are also increasing, and there's a shift from retail footprint to the online store. So the last statistics I saw was that 40% of consumers said that they shifted their offline shopping to the online stores. What are the changes that you're seeing in the market?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for hosting me today. It's a pleasure to be with you and to have the opportunity as well to show what is the digital transformation that Danone is going through and how Bringg is also helping us at some point with this. So indeed, all the stats that you just mentioned, there's a lot of them. We saw e-commerce spiking, everywhere, etc. But I think that there's two things that are a bit more important than that. The first one is the stickiness. How much of this 40% that you just mentioned will continue actually to shop online in terms of creating new offer, new services, improving the delivery, the last mile delivery, improving the consumer experience, making sure that they have new partnership in order to really meet the demand where it is. This is key for us. And this is why I think us as a brand, what was super important for us during this pandemic, I guess in the last 12 months now, is really to make sure that we target and we help actually our partner to provide as much as possible for, easiness in use and in experience for our consumer through our product.
What is interesting, I think, that we're also seeing now very much with our customers, consumers, is the need for also reliability. So it's not just that, there will be delivery, but it's also that it will come as guaranteed at the time and with the right quality that they expected it to get there.
All this first purchase online is super important in terms of the experience, both as you say, during the customer journey, but as well after sales and the delivery side. And this is why basically you can see a lot of different kind of new delivery method, new delivery services, because people are trying to get the best experience to our consumer, and this is actually key.
And what we saw also in last month in the holiday season was really the fact that retailers that offered that pick up from the store saw a higher conversion rate of online shoppers coming to their website. So they saw a higher conversion rate of over 30%, just thanks to the fulfillment model.
The more option you're able to suggest and to propose to your consumer, the better the conversion will be. And we can see it on our direct to consumer as well. And we did some tests, by the way, in terms of suggesting or providing different kind of delivery method and services and time frame, etc. And there's a clear difference in terms of conversion rate, for sure.
The need to also have the agility and the operational backend, the logistics operations that is agile and flexible enough to enable really this new monetization models, the new types of services, and also this new customer experience. If you think of the different activities that we saw taking place in the industry by different retailers, is really this rapid and avalanche really of partnerships and technology acquisitions also the retailers did. Just looking at PetSmart and DoorDash partnering really to enable the same day delivery, or Walmart acquiring actually an application that enables shoppers to pick up orders for their family and friends. Just a startup technology really that enables last mile by shoppers.
What is impressive, Daniela, here is that this trend is global. It's not only US based, You're talking about US retailer, but obviously European retailer going super fast in terms of partnership with all the last mile delivery actor of this world, the Deliveroo, the Uber Eats, etc. And we saw it in Latin America, we saw it in Europe. It's a global trend. And I think that for us, as a brand, what we need to be is as much as a trendsetter as possible, to be able actually to go with those retailers in terms to address actually the consumer needs and the consumer habits. For us, I think as a global brand, it's also helping us because obviously we can scale and leverage what we're doing in one country and another, and for you as well, I guess.
We actually saw this also with specifically one of retail customers, a grocery store. As you started with digital transformation, they started it earlier before the pandemic, which really the fact that they started just like yourselves to do this transformation before and have the technology in place, it really enabled them to cater to that huge growth in demand. What was so great about it is that they actually saw material impact in the fact that the basket size that customers bought was much bigger. It was tripled because customers said, great, I buy online, it's easy, it's convenient, so I can buy also more. And they got a complete different customer experience than they did before by just going to the retailer. And that grocery store actually saw a huge growth of revenue from virtually nothing to 100 million within just 12 months.
We started obviously this digital transformation a few years ago. I guess that the COVID helped us basically, even if it's not the right word, in order to really accelerate some of the initiative that we had and some of the partnership. And talking about the direct to consumer, we at Danone, we don't see as a direct to consumer as, okay, we need to really quickly open new website, a new commercial way, etc. I think at some point we were more like, okay, what's the DNA of a D2C? What we need to do in order to be relevant in this market? Because if it's just opening a new website for opening it, everyone can do it. And then you'll pay hundreds of thousands of euro or dollar in order to acquire the traffic, which is obviously nonsense. For us, there's three main things in the direct to consumer. The first one is the consumer experience, is to provide to the consumer something different that he can find today in the market. If it's a direct relationship with the brand, if it's some services, if it's a delivery option that today he doesn't have within own shopping habits. And for me, this consumer experience is both offline and online, of course. So this is for me one of the three pillars. The second one, obviously, is the data. I think we didn't discuss yet about the data. But one clear trend that we see is having this data in-house first party is something that more and more brands actually want to have because of, first of all, the different location of the data today. There's a lot third-party data, but we clearly need first-party data. There's so many sources of different data that we need at some point to be able to collect everything at the same place to make it actionable as insight to our market and to our decision. And this is actually, when I'm talking about data, is consumer data, obviously, in order to shopping habits, etc., but as well as the fulfillment and delivery data. We need to understand what is the relationship between the driver and the consumer, if he's happy, unhappy, all this kind of data that can help us to be even stronger in terms of last mile delivery. The third, pillar of direct to consumer that helps us actually to really understand if it's something meaningful or not is to have a test lab actually for our product, for our messaging, for our content, and really to interact with a small part of consumer to see if it's really something appealing and that can be leveraged to a wider population.
I would like to touch the first point you said about the customer experience and how you really see it as a change really in the customer experience from start to end, from A to Z, if you like. And when we look really at the customer journey that your consumers will go through, right? There's the shopping journey, as you say, that's the website, the world before they actually purchase. And there we already see that there's an impact of the fulfillment model that you offer. And we have the ability to pick up an order from the store. If you come to a specific threshold of a basket size, then the delivery cost or price will go down or even to none. And so we see like statistics that 65% of consumers would say that if they know ahead of time of the threshold, they will pass the threshold. So let's say if I know it's a $40 threshold, I'll make it a point to go even the $41 or the 41 euros just to be able to get that lower delivery price. And then once there's the purchase, that's when you move in the customer journey really to the last mile, as you said. The last mile by, in objective numbers is really the most costly and the most expensive part of the customer journey, of the supply chain.
So I have to be honest, in some of our direct to consumer, we were a bit blind in terms of last mile delivery data, in terms of the feeling, what is the consumer feeling, etc. Obviously, we are able to do surveys, etc. But the data was with the external partner. And so we were not able actually to really follow it and really track it in the best way. So this is why we started to partner with you, because we had actually three main objectives. The first one was, as you said, 40% of the cost of the supply part is the last mile, and we really wanted to make sure that if we have cost for it, we need the best experience. And how to have the best experience is if we can actually track it, if you can measure it, and if you can improve it. And this is why basically the first pillar of the consumer experience offline, which is the delivery one in terms of addressing the right time, getting the right messages, the SMS, etc., and making sure that the communication between the driver and the consumer is clear and great, was one key thing for us. The second one was we needed to improve all of our supply KPI, fulfillment rate, on-time delivery, and all those that you know better than I. We needed actually to really make sure that we are best in class in those delivery, because our P&L of direct to consumer is a complicated one. If we are not mastering it with the supply part, we can just close it. And the third one, which is the AI that is coming into this discussion, in how you can have a new route to market, how you can, improve your footprint, how you can make sure that you are optimizing everything and at the same time opening new opportunities and capturing new traffic or new consumer, thanks to a technology that will tell you, okay, basically today you're going that way, but you should go that way. And basically with XYZ insights, then you can have a business decision. And for those three pillars, basically, this is why we choose to start a journey with you. And this is where basically technology is in the middle of our direct to consumer. And it's funny because 10 years ago, the direct to consumer, the last mile delivery was not that a topic. Today you see in all the different boards that the supply team is getting a way more important than before. And I think it's key today. You don't have only your tech point of contact and business point of contact, but if you do something with direct to consumer, you need really a third party, which is the supply point of contact, because otherwise your P&L from day one will be close to zero, if not negative. So that was for us, I think, something super important to try to launch some new initiative and then see how fast it can help us to really acquire and improve our direct to consumer.
The experience that we are seeing also with another one of our customers of ours, that they very much like you, they took the supply chain as a business driver. Just as you said, it's a key player in the P&L, right? In actually driving this direct to consumer. Another customer of ours actually understood that when the store retail footprint went down, and that was really for them the trigger to go to this new type of fulfillment models, they actually took technology to introduce within already 2 weeks the pickup from store. And within 8 weeks, they already expanded into 800 stores. And then within a few months, they expanded with delivery with third-party fleets as well. And this enabled, as you said, to always look at the business and how the flexibility in the different fulfillment models enable them to give a complete different experience to their customers, but definitely also drive the business and help the business growth, and by that also support the P&L. Really, how do you see the fulfillment aspect? You talked a bit also about the data. So where do you see the fulfillment? How does it play in your direct-to-consumer strategy?
Danone is a multi-local company, meaning that we have a different model in every country. And that's the beauty of it, because we can adapt actually to our consumer need in every country and every region. And what was important for us and for me on the global part is to make sure that the partner we are working with are agile, flexible, and can adapt themselves to every situation in every market. We are not taking a solution, plug and play, and then leave it to the market, because otherwise you will not be able actually to really scale it and have the best usage of it. So for us, it was important, first of all, when you're choosing a partner, that will adapt your model, because we have internal fleet, external fleet, obviously different model in terms of supply. It still depends obviously on the market, on the product that we are selling. And for me, actually, the fact that we were able actually at some point to in-house all the data was key, because as I told you before, we were blind. So we didn't have any, the right dashboard in order to really follow all the KPIs. So we had some, obviously, because we are not completely blind. However, we really needed to step up our game to make sure that we are targeting and making sure that our consumer are paying for the right service and the right product at the right time. And for that, we needed actually to be able to really track it and measure it and take action quickly. And if you don't have the data in-house and you need to wait for an external data to come to provide you insight, etc., you can wait for years. The right data was key for us. And this is why basically we wanted to have this fulfillment part, actually part of this data journey that we are having everywhere. It's obviously not only the fulfillment data, but it's consumer data and shopping habits, etc., etc. But for us, mastering actually this last mile part, delivery, and making sure that we can adapt it to every market and every region was key.
This really resonates with lots of retailers, retail customers, actually an auto parts retailer. They started with direct to consumer as well. And they had also internal fleets, and some fleets had specific fleets only for specific stores. And some other locations had a pool of fleets that they could choose the drivers from. And some others, as you said, also used a third-party fleet. Now, this ability to leverage the data to connect between the different types of fulfillment models, the different types of drivers and skill sets and vehicles, and then still deliver to the consumers their expected service that they expect to get, is crucial. Now, what we saw with them is that this data also enabled them to introduce new types of services. So for instance, if a driver has also the skill set of changing a car battery for the consumer at the same time that they deliver the battery, they also provide another service like changing it for the consumers, then you can introduce more services, value-added services, in addition to the delivery. But that can only take place if you know the driver and if you assign the right driver with the skill set that can do those services as well. And so the data, as you said, is critical. It's connecting all the dots. It's orchestrating so that the customer experience doesn't break.
The driver today is not only a doer, it's also an enabler.
Yeah.
An enabler of providing the experience of your brand at the consumer house. And this is also the last almost interaction between the consumer with your brands. Before going into testing your product, eating your product, playing with your product, he has someone that is delivering to them. And this someone actually is really the right hand of your company at some point, but is also helping you to maybe get into the recyclable journey, because at some point you can really take back all the bottles or all the other stuff in terms, to close the loop in terms of all the sustainability effort that we are doing as a company. And that was also key for us, because the delivery doesn't stop when we deliver the product, but sometimes we are picking some stuff and we're trying to close the loop, and you'll see more and more company actually coming to this full loop of delivery, both from warehouse to the consumer, but from the consumer to the warehouse or to a different place. And this is where the technology and the data is key. In the past, we were only tracking until the consumer was getting this delivery. Today, we are all very vigilant about the sustainability and recyclable activity, and we need actually to track it and to make sure to improve it. So that was also key for us.
So that actually enables you to extend your brand even a bit beyond in the after sales, and then it's, as you said, it's like a loop. It's a continuous loop that then goes back into then more upselling, more cross-selling, etc. And of course, getting also the fact that consumers can provide feedback to you and rating of the service is another, in a sense, moment of engagement, a moment of truth that you enable to get the direct feedback from your consumers, and by that also increase the NPS or your rating. And again, it provides you the way to improve, and all by using the technology, the same channel of communications that you use with customers from the shopping, also in the fulfillment side.
It's providing you, I say, all the set of data, but on top of the set of data that is providing you, it's also helping you actually to get a feeling directly of the consumer experience that before that we were waiting for weeks and months, just to launch a survey by CRM or by any other way of communication. And today, you just get it like that in a second. Exactly. And it's key because the consumer today is very loyal to some brands, but it can clearly go to another place in a second. So if you cannot provide to him the best experience from A to Z, as you say, from the consumer journey on site to the off site and after sales period, it will be pretty hard for the future for yourself.
Our customers actually share with us impact that they're seeing is the increase in the NPS rating. And in the rating in general, that increases by one of the customers I mentioned by 60%. And that's really how they drive their competitive differentiation. Because
I hope we'll have 60% as well.
We should put that as our KPI to discuss in a few months. What is really 2021 going to be the focus for Danone in your customer-centric approach, in your digital transformation, and in this new strategy of direct-to-consumer?
Two things that are coming to my mind. The first one is personalization. The consumer today wants to have a really personalized experience because, you have it in store because you have your personal advisor. You can have really a personal actually approach to it. But online, you still don't have this really personalized experience because sometimes you feel that the message that you see on your screen or your ads is not really the right one for you because probably you bought the product or it's not something that you're interested anymore and that you were interested 2 weeks ago. So I think that making sure that first of all, you personalize the content, the images, the promotion, the messages to every single consumer that will be key for us. So I don't want you, Daniela, to see the same message as my friend Samuel when he's buying online. I want him to have a very clear and different, because you're a different shopper, you have different needs. And as you say, you like your kids likes, Danone product, but probably they don't like the same product as you or as my friend. So we really need to really have this personalized an activity with content, images, and promotion. And this personalization goes also as well to the delivery part. And this is why we need to get more personalized service. The SMS needs to be with your name. All this activity that you get and the feeling between the driver and the consumer needs to be super personalized. So for me, personalization online, offsite, on-site will be key for 2021. And the second one, obviously, is the different partnership or tech provider that will be actually into the e-commerce ecosystem. I think that we saw many of them in 2020 coming, partnering with big player, with retailer, with brands in order to accelerate. I think for me, 2021 will be a year of probably consolidation in some of the markets as well, because you cannot have so many actually delivery service network as well. So probably you'll see more and more actually consolidation in this market, and probably in terms of the data part, you will still see this strong trend of gathering the data first party that brands will really want to follow, because it's key for our future. So this either partnership with third party in order to have the right set of data, either collecting it and making sure that you have the right set of data to address your activity. Those for me would be, but again, don't have a crystal ball. It's just my 2 cents.
That's very interesting. It totally resonates with me, and the fact actually that you talk about and I wrote here the personalization on site, off site. Essentially, what enables really the personalization is the data, and knowing really who the person is, and enabling really this unique customer experience before the sale and after the sale. If it's online sale and offsite delivery, offsite pickup, that's really the touch with the customer that has to be very personalized. And this is really about providing this exceptional customer experience. It's also this transparency to customers, to consumers, to know when they're getting, what they're getting, who is providing it to them, at what time, and at their convenience, so they can actually set it as part of their online experience. So they would set their offsite experience as well. And secondly, you talked about this consolidation in the industry, and really what we're seeing is the fact that so many retailers are going with so many, as you also mentioned, different fulfillment models, internal fleets, third-party fleets, other delivery service partners, etc. And really the key is that in order to manage everything, you can't break the customer experience just because you have so many partners you're working with and with your own fleets. And so the key is really that you would have this single control tower in a way that would provide you all the data, the visibility for you to control the customer experience, the experience that the drivers have, and the business that you as Danone actually put as your target in your P&L, really for this new channel of direct to consumer. Mm-hmm. So essentially this, this approach of the unified platform, this is really the approach that we take, and we enable really our customers without investing in new drivers or bringing more people or bringing more manual processes or new vendors. Just go with the single platform that would enable you to have the power over the data and actually orchestrate the different partners that you work with. And thirdly, you talked about, again, the data, and I actually take it also to the need for flexibility, which you mentioned right in the beginning of our conversation. And I think if there's one thing that we learned from 2020 is that, as you said, we don't have a crystal ball. So we really need this agility and this flexibility in our technology so that the technology will work hard for us. To enable really the business to adapt to whichever reality comes upon us. And I thank you for the trust that you put in us. And I'd like to also thank you for this very insightful conversation. Thank you very much. And
thank you for hosting me, and thanks again for the support. And I hope that our crowd, virtual crowd, enjoyed our discussion. And hopefully, if they have any question, they can reach out to us.
they sure will.